3 weeks of 1998, a Lafayette man, an Army veteran, was missing. His decomposing body was finally located in a Tippecanoe County park near a popular hiking trail. But more than 15 years later, his killer has not been brought to justice.
In part 3 of our special series, Cold Case Investigation, News 18's Dan Klein tells the story of the disappearance and murder of Kenneth Josey.
February 1998. Authorities scoured the woods around Davis Ferry Park on North 9th Street Road after someone finds a body near the Wabash Heritage Trail.
That the body was that of a small-statured black male. We still don't know his age. He was partially clothed, and the cause of death was a gunshot wound.
But it takes several days to attach a name, Kenneth Wayne Josey.
It truly broke all of our hearts. It'll never go away. Never go away. To lose a child, and to lose a child traumatically like that, it's just devastating.
Kenneth had spent 2 years in the Army in the early 90s after graduating high school in Chicago, where he played football, wrestled, and ran track. At first, wanting to be a drill sergeant, but after a tour in Somalia, he got out in 1993 and moved with a friend to Lafayette.
He was certainly the joy of my life.
To his mother and friends, he's Tinny, a childhood nickname derived from Winnie the Pooh. 27 at the time, Tinny's body has been decomposing.
It was cold and there had been a lot of rain, so it was not the cold weather that would preserve a body that was out in the open.
Kenneth was last seen Monday, February 2nd, more than 3 weeks earlier. He dropped his fiancée, Marilyn Potter, at the old Jeff High School building at 9th and Brown, at the time home to Ivy Tech. According to the missing persons report, he left the couple's 3-year-old son with his sitter, got a ride from a friend named Andre to get lunch, then disappeared. But perhaps a mother's intuition knew right away. Catherine says she woke up at the same time 2 nights in a row with a pain in her heart, but didn't know why.
Again, looked around, and all I could do was just pray and like, Lord, whatever it is, prepare me for it.
Marilyn calls hours later, Wednesday. But the missing persons report isn't filed until more than a day later, just after midnight Friday morning. The same day Kenneth is due in court for a misdemeanor charge of false informing. At the time, he and Marilyn were also in small claims court, targeted for eviction by their landlord at 1302 Columbia Street. Marilyn tells News 18 the two had been in a relationship for about 5 years. In the missing persons report, she says Tinny fought with a man named Willie Keller at her mother's apartment. She told police she wasn't sure when it happened, but threats were made. Another name in the report could provide more clues, Steve Tuck, who was sentenced 5 months later to 50 years in prison for dealing cocaine. In April, after he moved out of his home here at 1218 Queen Street, troopers searched the house. While detectives cannot tell News 18 if they discovered anything, Catherine says they found a newly repaired wall and blood.
Coincided with Kenneth's blood. So they're thinking then that something must have happened in the apartment and he was removed from there.
Because of his athleticism and his Army training, she believes Kenneth had to have known at least one of his attackers.
This one is truly, it's cold. There's not much going on. There wasn't much to go on at the time.
And so, 3 weeks later, Kenneth's body is found here at Davis Ferry Park. But police say he wasn't killed here. Instead, someone dumped his body. Because despite recent rains, his body was far enough away from the water's edge of the Wabash River. The detectives know he didn't float to the spot. Though it's been years since Indiana State Police got any tips, the case has not been forgotten for Tom McKee, who helped search the woods in 1998 looking for clues.
Because I was there, it's a case that sticks with me, that I would like to get it solved.
So what happened February 2nd, 1998? Where did Tinny go after lunch? Where was he killed? Was a mother's 1 a.m. intuition correct all along?
I'm confident somebody knows what happened to him, but I think enough time maybe has gone by that they'll be willing to come forward now.
I think it would bring closure.
Yet, even without closure, life marches on. Kenneth's 3-year-old Dwayne is now 19 and a sophomore in college studying business.
We just say his dad would be so proud of him.
But Catherine says it's the what-ifs that can be haunting. A life cut short when there was still so much left to do.
It was hard, the hardest part of my life. I've lost my mom and grandparents, but when you lose a child, it's hurtful, really hurtful.
From prison, Steve Tuck declined to be interviewed for this story. If you have any information about the case, contact Indiana State Police's Lafayette Post and ask for First Sergeant Tom McKee. Right now at WLFI.com, we have more of Kenneth's story and a photo gallery of crime scene and family photographs. Next week on Cold Case Investigation, Dan explores the cases of a pair of Purdue sophomores who went missing 8 years apart.